Well, it seems for the past week or so now, the models have indicated a more blocky pattern and a cooler signal for the western side of Europe as we progress towards the end of the month. Certainly, the GFS ensemble indicates that we are going to continue to see this Arctic Oscillation, North Atlantic Oscillation plunge into negative. But what is interesting is the GFS ensemble doesn't support the same kind of cold signal for the UK and Western Europe as it did a few days ago. And this has just become more and more typical each and every year. The models indicate a cold pattern coming, and then before it actually gets to the period that it's predicting for, it changes its tune and we'll lose that cold signal once again. So it starts to beg the question, are we really relying too much on long range modelling? Can we look out 7 to 10 days from now? Even at this stage, with the advancement of technology, it does make you start to question just how much can we really go by these models, or are we kind of just, to be honest with you, kind of hoping rather than actually going by anything substantial. So nothing is completely ruled out just yet, but certainly some of the members do now start to point towards a more zonal flow into the UK, so more Atlantic rather than Arctic influence as we go forward here. The GFS ensemble does indicate, as we continue to skip through these snapshots here, this is the Northern Hemispheric view. You can see here some positive up across the Asian side of the Arctic. We've got negative extending really from the Norwegian Sea right across southern and central Greenland and into the Canadian archipelago. We've got the strongest ridge compared to normal in the hemisphere over the Bering Sea at the moment. But you see that we do see alterations, we do see changes as we go through the period here, which indicates something a little bit more interesting. We do have this low pushing east, the area of high pressure initially to the northwest of the UK, but then it kind of moves in. But we continue to see areas of low pressure pushing through. This is not this. What we would really want to see is this big, strong, dominant positive. Rather than being over the Bering Sea, we would want it to be over the North Atlantic and extending north into Greenland, pulling the Arctic southwards. So as we continue to skip through here, yeah, we do have positive, we do have some form of Greenland blocking here, but we don't have the same rhythm over the larger scale than what you would like to see for a decent shot of cold air, and not just a 1 day hit and then it moves on, but more pronounced, more persistent in nature. You can see that the heights do come up substantially over the Davis Straits here, so slightly to the west of Greenland here, and this can have a good signal here. You've got the negative over Scandinavia, the positive over the western side of Greenland here, and but things are still not really looking the way you would want it to be, because we've got the negative here to the west of the UK and a positive over the near continent here, which would shield the southeastern portion of the UK from any real weather. And the areas of low pressure will continue to push in from the central North Atlantic up in the general region between Scotland and Iceland here. So this continues to keep that westerly influence going despite having this positive over the Davis Straits here. So at this very moment in time, when you've got the signal like this here with the negative to the west of the UK, this is not necessarily a cold pattern for the UK. It is still firmly Atlantic driven, and yet the same ensemble run, the GFS ensemble, still indicates in its 51 members that the general consensus is for a negative Arctic oscillation, negative North Atlantic oscillation, and a firmly negative one at that. Not just slightly negative; it goes well into the kind of um, two below normal. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. To me, it just gets more and more frustrating every year that the models at this day and age, it still can't really hold on to anything. It shows a cold signal, it doesn't materialize. We've seen that now for the past 5, 6 years, really since the cold winters of 2009 and 10, 11. It just the malls continue to tease us with a cold signal, and it doesn't materialize. So it starts to, like I say, beg the question as to how much really can we look at these models and actually take it without taking it as a pinch of salt, to be honest. So we'll wait and see what happens. Nothing is completely ruled out just yet, but it does look as if anything that we do see cold wise will be a couple of days, and we'll continue to see this transient fluid pattern from the west. Hope you have a great Friday, a great weekend, and I'll be back again next week. Bye for now.